I have no idea what I'm doing here, but you should hit the subscribe button because Banned From Ringside is good.
Ditch that 9 to 5, time to feel alive. This is Banned From Ringside.
Tonight on the Banned From Ringside podcast, we have Becky Lynch's Very Strange Week. We have Daniel Bryan's heel turn and title win. We have the Survivor Series predictions. That and a whole bunch more tonight on the Banned From Ringside podcast.
Hey! There he is! There he is! Take 3, goddammit!
Ditch that 9 to 5. It's time to feel alive. Hello, Marks, and welcome to the Banned From Ringside podcast. As always, I am your host, Bill Vagey, a.k.a. K. Fabriel Byrne. And to my right, as always, we have Two Beer Zach Pullman. What's going on, Two Beer Zach?
Just trying to figure out your AKA.
So it's Gabriel Byrne.
Okay.
But instead of Gabriel Byrne, it's K. Fabriel Byrne.
Why do I not know anyone that you guys are talking about tonight?
You don't know who Gabriel Byrne is?
I don't.
That sounds like a Simpsons character.
It really does. Yeah.
No, Gabriel Byrne. He was in The Usual Suspects.
Ah!
I know The Usual Suspects.
Bang! There it is.
I'm going to Google him.
That's really strange. Okay, and to his right, as always, we have Jason Cornelius Bell. What's going on, JCB?
Allow us to bow our heads and crack open the latest volume 80, I believe.
I believe you
for
know
the
who Gabriel Byrne is.
Shut up.
I got him.
Banned From podcast, volume 80, chapter 3, verse 14, and the good smart sayings, hashtag booty heels. It is all good, baby. Quick shout out to my girl, Becky Balboa. Love you, babe. I'm ready to get this thing rolling, man. There's so much to talk about.
Lots to talk about. And to his right, as always, we have Murray, the Murray Man. Murray, what's going on, Murray?
I'm doing great, as usual. I just wanted to plug a couple things, as I
Go
normally
ahead,
do.
please.
That's your job, baby.
So that rescheduled Four Hands Strange Donuts event with Dynamo Pro Wrestling is back on this Sunday.
Okay.
We will have a booth yet again. It's at Broadway Athletic Club on Broadway.
Hit it up, Marks.
So like 1 o'clock, I think, is doors. And then also, just so everybody knows, we talked about it last week, but our YouTube channel is up and going. It's actually live as we speak right now. We've got.
I finally watched the Banged Up episode tonight.
Awesome.
We were
We were banged up.
That was the first one, though. You guys weren't even that banged up yet.
We were hitting the sauce, and it's pretty funny. We had a good time, so I hope you guys like it.
Yeah, so just type in Banned From Ringside in YouTube. We've got some stuff up, and every week we'll have new content. So
Smash that subscribe and get the new notifications.
Pretty excited about it. It's just like if you're just sitting around and you're wondering what to watch, it's something fun to watch. It is us watching Vince versus Stephanie in the I Quit match back from 2003, which is one of the most ridiculous matches that WWE has ever put on. It's
brutal,
and
too.
It's a lot of fun. It is also brutal. And we have Sam the Mauler Mall turning the knobs tonight, looking
Mr. Perfect's in the house.
He's very invested right now. He's
As
going to be
usual.
giving some predictions later.
God, I love
we're
that.
coming at you from the exquisite Shock City Studios in beautiful St. Louis, Missouri. It was snowy today, man. It snowed a lot.
All day.
Yeah.
My kids had a snow day. It was cool. We all had breakfast this morning together. It was like a fucking Hallmark movie.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, snow is fun. Before we get too
For the kids.
What kind of snow?
before what you holding?
Holden McNeil.
Before we get too far into it, we'll get to our day one-ish sponsor. That's Soul Taco. That's Soul Taco, baby. That's a Korean Mexican fusion food. You never know that you need it. If you ever have it, though, you'll never go back because it is delicious. They have a place in the U-City Loop, Chesterfield, Missouri, Columbia, Missouri, Champaign, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, 2 food trucks driving around St. Louis at all times, and they have been a friend of the show, a sponsor of the show since the very beginning. We also have JJ Twiggs Pizza on Southampton. Now, I never invite the other BFR guys to JJ Twiggs Pizza, but I was there last weekend right before I went to Top Golf, which is also a bunch of fun. They have gluten-free pizza for my wife, who is gluten-free. They also have Super Mario Pizza. They have Southside Pride. They get all sorts of pizzas. They pour them strong. If you want to go watch a Blues game up there, you can get the bucket special up there. In fact, hit us up on Sunday.
There you go.
At the Four Hands event and just say to Murray or say to Bill, say, hey, can I get one of those JJ Twiggs gift cards, and one of us will hand them to you. I promise you that, because we have plenty to give away because they are so generous and they've been such a great sponsor, them and Soul Taco. We have another sponsor coming up later on in the show. But without further ado, let's get to that 3 counts. JCB, what you got?
There's some iconic moments that you will always remember. I think Monday night was one of them. Becky Lynch comes out and basically runs the last 10 minutes of Raw, puts Ronda in the disarmor, comes out ringside. Obviously, SmackDown ladies come in, and we have this massive brawl. Becky, unfortunately, takes a shot in the face. Whether it's work or shoot, I'll let you decide. She's effectively out for.
That was a work.
Look, I just watch it. I'm reading way too much about this, so that's why I said that. Obviously, she's out for Survivor Series. Charlotte is now in, so now we have Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey. I'm not sure how to even think of it, to be perfectly honest. It's one of those where...
Yeah, sorry. You're still recording, so just keep going.
Okay. I don't know what to think about it, honestly. It feels like it's almost too soon for Ronda and Charlotte. I get it because you have to do it, but I think this is one of those where they made it audible, and this is where we're at.
So you passed up a whole bunch of stuff here, though. Like, Becky came in.
I think we all know that. I want to cut to the nuts and bolts of this thing.
Well, let's go over the basics, though. Becky came in. It was the regular SmackDown versus Raw angle that they've done for the past couple of years during Survivor Series, because Survivor Series has taken over bragging rights as being that's the pay-per-view that's brand versus brand,
right?
Which I've been very vocal about. I think that's boring as shit. Nobody cares about brand versus brand.
No, it doesn't suck. You got to do it. You do it right. If you do it right, like, okay, look how we're talking about this. We're doing it right. Go ahead.
Yeah, but there's a couple of reasons why we're doing it right.
Okay.
Becky came in. She fucked up Ronda. Now, Ronda hasn't been put in an armbar in WWE history, right? Nobody's put her in an armbar. Nobody's put her in her own move.
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
So when you cut back, after you have that bullshit Sasha Bailey match, you cut back to the backstage, and all of a sudden Becky's got Ronda in an armbar. And the way they shot it was that nobody was expecting it. Oh shit, somebody's coming back here, and all of a sudden Becky is putting Ronda in her own move.
Owning her.
And Ronda is selling the shit out of it, right?
Yeah.
So then Becky comes out and wants to fight the entire Raw roster, and that's when all the SmackDown women come out.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then what happens?
I mean, shit, you over here just cutting to the chase. I mean, or I'm trying to cut to the chase.
You're trying to cut to the chase. I'm trying to give everybody a little bit of background as to what happened.
Because nobody watches Monday Night Raw anymore.
Well, they might not. You know?
Fair enough.
I don't.
Okay, good
Yeah,
point.
Zach doesn't.
Good point. So, of course, now melee ensues in the ring, and I didn't see it happen when it happened. I just saw Becky go down. But when Becky goes down from a Nia Jax punch to the face, you don't really see her get up right away, which is not necessarily a huge deal. But then it comes back around to Becky, and now she's literally gushing blood. And the knee-jerk reaction is like, okay, she's got a broken nose. No big deal. You know, we could put a mask on that. We've seen it before.
She's busted open.
I mean, gushing blood. I mean, wiping her nose and like throwing it on the fans, gushing so much blood. So I'm thinking, okay, it's a big deal, but we can work around this. They can stop the bleeding, you know, put the nose back into place. I mean, Cesaro was going to come back in like 2 or 3 days after jamming his mouth up against that ring post. Broken nose, Becky should be okay. So, of course, SmackDown basically runs everybody out of the ring, takes Nia Jackson to the post, Tamina, the whole shebang. It was nice to see the Iconics, just FYI, because you just don't see them winning. You just see them being the jobbers. But it was nice to see them come out and kick a little ass, too. So Ronda finally decides to come out. I shouldn't say finally decides to come out, but she comes back out selling the arm injury, which I don't know who thinks I don't like Ronda Rousey. I'm one of the first to kind of always defend Ronda Rousey because I think just this short of a career, she deserves some leeway. Anyway, my main concern was I didn't want her to come out and destroy the entire SmackDown locker room. Some girls she could beat down, other girls she can't. Hip tosses Lana. She, I guess, took out one of the Iconics. Doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Becky Lynch escapes, and they being the SmackDown roster, decides they want to start going up to the ramp and exit stage right. So, ultimately, at the end, you see a bloody and battered Becky Lynch, both arms raised in probably one of the more iconic moments in their career, and it's been a fairly short career in WWE. It's almost become my Twitter page, or my Twitter Ivy, I guess, for lack of a better word, but that's another story for another time. That's how I think iconic it was. That's Becky Lynch, the way I see it. Becky Lynch, the man, not this other Becky Lynch that was just booked so poorly that this would seem so unfathomable 6 months ago.
So long ago when Becky Lynch was booked poorly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, now it totally seems different. Some of this is luck. Other of this is just right place, right time.
Zach, what do you think?
Weirdly enough, it ends up being a good thing. That's the strangest part. Is one of the most iconic moments of my childhood was the Hart Austin match, that blow off match where Austin doesn't give up. He just bleeds out in the sharpshooter
and passes out in the sharpshooter. And this is that moment. 13?
I think it was WrestleMania 13. Yeah. So you got all these comparisons to Stone Cold about Becky Lynch, and up until this point, I didn't necessarily see them as viable. Now, this is her Stone Cold moment. She's
Austin
absolutely over. Yeah, I mean, just absolutely over. Shows she's a badass. Bleeding out. I mean, it looks great, and now she's getting taken out of this match, and it sucks for Survivor Series because it makes it less watchable. It was the #1 draw, but now
rumor has it was going to close the show.
Yeah. But now we have the possibility of letting this go until WrestleMania and having the women, because now we don't have a main event WrestleMania. We got Roman gone.
Shit.
Yeah,
you do.
What?
Who you think is going to main event WrestleMania?
Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey could do it.
Brock Lesnar's still around. He going to main event WrestleMania.
I'm just saying, but who do you put against Brock that's more interesting than that? Nobody.
Whoever you want. That's going to be his last match anyway. Whoever's going to win the title, that's who Brock's going to face.
I remember when we said that about last WrestleMania.
True.
Anyway,
true.
Super cool.
Keep making that money.
Flash forward to Tuesday whenever I was at SmackDown because it was here in St. Louis, and they do these little 10-second clips for USA, saying hey, SmackDown's going to be on in 15 minutes. Let's get the crowd going. And to get the crowd going, as soon as people start cheering, they just start chanting Becky. Completely, that's how
no picture was shown. They just started cheering Becky.
We all just started cheering Becky.
Man, that's white hot. Dude. I mean, she's not even red hot anymore. This is white hot. She is on a whole nother level.
Murray, she was so over.
Honestly, again, it's a negative that could very easily be turned into a lot of positives. Maybe the only thing people are bitching about mostly I heard is that because she hugged Charlotte after she chose her.
Right.
Which was weird. I will admit that was weird, but honestly, with the way they've been using those two, I wouldn't be surprised if there's something there. That wasn't just it wasn't a face turn necessarily. It wasn't whatever. I think there's a lot of emotions there. She chose her for a reason. They have a history, yada, yada, yada. But also, she can kind of do whatever she wants at this point as that character.
And
so if she hugs her, she could still turn around and beat the shit out of her next week because she's so, okay, yeah, I do what I want. I'm the man.
And nobody will boo her.
No, and I figured out, how we were talking about the whole man thing? Now, I don't know if
last week, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if this was something that everybody was aware of, but I caught wind, I don't know what I was watching, that it's because of the whole Charlotte promo. When she said that her dad used to say, when you have to be the man, you have to beat the man.
Right.
When she beat Charlotte, that's when she grabbed that name. Now she is the man since she beat the man. I didn't put 2 and 2 together on that for some reason.
Well, now I'm proud of this podcast, Banned From Ringside, that we have included Becky Lynch in the 3 count, which is our 3 biggest stories of the week for the last 3 weeks in a row, maybe the last 4 weeks, because I feel like we saw it coming that Becky Lynch is really on the verge of something pretty special. And Monday night, when you're watching it, you're like, holy shit, we really are onto something. Not we are, but she's really onto something special. WWE is onto something special. I think that she's on the verge of superstardom. I think that she is on the verge of John Cena type celebrity. Like, I think they could put her in movies.
Well, she's in one right now.
Marine 6 available on Blu-ray, DVD.
I know what you mean.
I'm talking about like when John Cena was in
Trainwreck.
the Judd Apatow movie.
Yeah.
Like, or the
and
Amy
was the
Schumer
best part
movie.
about it.
Well,
Kristen Wiig's really
LeBron
good.
James was really good in that movie
good
also.
too. Yeah.
But like, I think that Becky is on the verge of superstardom. And like, if there is going to be a wrestling renaissance, like, we're all old enough to remember the Attitude Era when shit crossed over. Hell, when Rock crossed over, and Rock to this day is the biggest movie star in the world. I think that we're on the we may be on the verge of something to where women's wrestling not only starts to get taken seriously next to men's wrestling, but to the part where Becky Lynch starts getting taken seriously as a real star in wrestling, not as eye candy and not as
Diva.
just a diva or the hottest chick on the roster, but somebody.
She's all of that.
Well, and
She is all of that, but she also can work. She also has tons of charisma, and
Her social media is on point.
it is.
Oh, her social media is so good. Like, the shit that she ran down Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey this week was so good.
She's even tweeting Ronda's husband like, "Come get your girl."
That's the new
Like,
promo. It's
dude,
it's the
so-
new like uncut promo.
It's so good,
Twitter.
and
Yep.
I really feel like we're on the verge of something huge with Becky Lynch.
I agree.
And I think that she's somebody that can work hard, or somebody that has worked hard to get to where she is, and I think she's fantastic. All that being said, the last 3 weeks, this build up to that match with Ronda Rousey doesn't work unless you have a Ronda Rousey.
Oh
And
yeah, Ronda's a fucking star.
Ronda Rousey is a big star, and you can't tell who's the heel and who's the face. And maybe Vince's whole shit ass terrible take where you don't have to have faces or heels finally worked in this
To
point.
think that Vince McMahon was the most progressive of us all.
Oh, come on. Let's not get... No, this is Vince being lucky, okay? Let's not sit up here
That was funny.
and give this man too much credit.
That was funny, but you cannot tell. I mean, they tried to turn Ronda into... Or not Ronda, I'm sorry. They tried to turn Becky into the heel who was the anti-fans heel. That lasted 1 week.
Not
and
even.
I think on this podcast we were like, you shouldn't do her like that.
That doesn't work.
It doesn't work like that. Just make her be like a Stone Cold. And the Stone Cold comparisons have been
keeps
flying
happening.
around a little bit, but now the
now
Stone
it
Cold
starts to
comparisons
really...
It's apt.
Yeah, it
look-
really is.
Especially when
reinforced.
you're putting the number one supposed star, the Golden Girl, in a fucking armbar backstage, and nobody's safe.
That's Stone Cold stunning
that was
everyone.
such that was such a great move to have them just go back and have her already have Ronda Rousey in the armbar. That was so smart. It was so smart. And really, we'll get to our predictions later, but we'll just get to our predictions later because I have thoughts about what should happen in Charlotte versus Rousey. But we really got to keep moving. So
Blessing
without
in
further
disguise,
ado,
that's all I can say on that.
let's get to our 2 counts.